What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of Season 2 of Interviewing The Affluent. My name is Kwame Barbour, and I'm the founder and CEO of Affluential Clothing. We are a mission-based streetwear brand that promotes the idea that wealth is a matter of inspiration. While there are many different ways to describe affluence, one may believe that it all ties back to wealth and how we express our wealthiness. Affluential Clothing, however, would like to redefine this idea and showcase affluence as a mindset rather than a lifestyle. And through these interviews, we hope to expand the word's perspective on what the word wealth means. Blessing us with their presence today for episode 2 of season 2, we're excited to introduce Miss Nakia Letang, Director of Admissions for Bellarmine campus. Nakia, how are you?
I'm great, Kwame. How are you?
I'm good. I appreciate you taking the time to be here with us today.
I'm honored to be amongst the affluential here today, so thanks for the invitation.
For those who don't know you, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and your time at the university?
Sure. So my name is Nakia Letang. I am currently the Director of Admission for the Bellarmine campus that we are opening this fall.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Really, really exciting. Prior to that, though, I've been a part of the Fairfield community for about 18 years, going on 19 years this year, in undergraduate admission.
Do you remember when we first met?
I sure do. That car ride from the Metro North Station.
I felt like a celebrity. Hey, I'm Nakia. I'm outside. I'm your driver.
You got red carpet status that day, but that's what I do. That's what I like. That's what I like to do. That's how every student should feel. So I'm glad that I'm even more excited to remember that, and now to be here, you as a senior, is like, oh man, it's a little nostalgic for me. But
I'm happy you waited till my senior year to move on. You know?
Well, probably had no choice. I've been threatened, so it's all good. It's all good.
Got you. If there's one value that you live by, what might that be?
I think one value that I live by. The first thing that comes, I think there's a few values I live by, but the first thing that comes to mind is actually a scripture. We walk by faith and not by sight. And so don't judge everything by what you see. There's so many other things beyond the things that we see with our eyes. And what we see can always be influenced by what we hope and what we've been exposed to and what we haven't been exposed to. And so I'm certainly a woman of faith. Faith is probably one of the biggest parts of who I am, and it certainly informs a lot of what I do. And so just keeping that in mind, I walk by faith. I tend to be the optimistic. I tend to be the optimistic one, even in the grimmest of things, right? Like there is no way. Somebody, right? At least somebody see a cup half full. I like to know that there's always something good to come out of even the worst of situations, and there's always something to learn. There's always something to take away. There's always something to grow. Flowers grow out of dirt. So
Right.
I mean, there's always something good to come out of any situations.
Exactly. And how would you say that you measure success?
I think that is such a fluid definition, to be honest. I think it's a unique definition for everybody, right? My definition of success shouldn't look like your definition of success,
Not at
right?
all.
But my definition of success should be, I would say, if I had to come up with a general type of definition, it would be one that allows any human being to be able to pursue what they feel called and passionate to do, like their vocation, almost, in the sense, right? Like, I know I was created to do this, and I've discovered it, and now I'm able to do it in my truth and in my fullness. To me, that is like true success for me. That even if I don't have $1 million in my bank account, like I am like living the best of the life that I have because I'm able to pursue what I'm passionate about. I'm doing what I love, and that is being carried through in all aspects of my life. In the way I'm able to be a mom, in the way I'm able to be a boss at work, and the person I'm able to be at church, and the person I'm able to be in the neighborhood with my friends. Like, I'm able to be my true authentic self, and I'm doing what I love. I'm being truly me in all aspects of that. Like, that, to me, that's success.
Gotcha. And a lot of times we do struggle to find the things that we love, the things that we're called to do. So can you
Hmm.
just walk us through that discovery?
Yeah, like that's so hard. I have a colleague who's a dear friend of mine, and we often talk about, if you think about the world and society in the context, people might say that's a luxury. Like it's a luxury if you find a job that you love doing, that's your passion, and you get to do that. Some people say most people in the world they don't get to do that.
I don't.
Most people have a job that pays their bills, and listen, that's enough. Like that is good enough to do what I need to do and to live. And hopefully every now and then I'll get to do something that I'm really passionate about, right? But at the end of the day, most people just find a job that allows them to pay the bills and do what they want. That's the majority of the world. And so I hate that the world lives in that context, but I understand it's a like there's a lot of privilege, right? I understand I am privileged to be in a space where I have access to education and I have access to opportunity and I have a support system around me that allows me to pursue the things that I want versus just the things I need,
Right.
right? And so I know that that is not the reality for all people. So, like, I think that's one of the things that fuels the work that I do, right? Like, what can I do with what I love that allows other people the opportunity to have that freedom in their own lives? Like, because everybody deserves that. Everybody deserves to feel a freedom where they're pursuing what they love, right?
Most
Or
definitely.
they have a space to discover that. And the world is not so loving like that to
It's
most
truly not.
people.
I think we're often consumed by what we need,
Mm-hmm.
and we just stop thinking about what we want after a while.
Right. Right.
And through these interviews, we try to talk through that a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of these interviews, it was very surprising to see that a lot of the things that people do just aren't related to their passion at all. So,
Right. 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 And I feel like I've been in a place I didn't know this was my passion. Like, no one ever decides, I can't wait to be an admission counselor someday. You will never hear a child ever say, unless they're like the child of an admission counselor, maybe. But no one ever says that. So I never knew that that would be something that I was passionate about in my future. And I learned, but I want to say it took time and it took maturity and it took a discovering of my gifts to understand why this was the passion. Like, it was meant for me to be on this path to this. After, even though I didn't realize what my gifts and talents and my strengths would be way back when I was younger,
right.
right? Now that I'm older, I understand like everything that I went through. It was all preparation for me to polish the gifts and talents and uniquenesses that I have so that I could do this and do it well, right? And so I think ideally, right, sometimes we look for those things that are like, as soon as we are in college, like, yep, I found it. Like, this is it. This is what I'm meant to do. Sometimes it doesn't come that quick,
Yeah.
right? You need to live life a little bit to then be able to discover, to get you to the right thing at the right time in your life, right?
And I think that's a good point as well. A lot of times we think that we're all on the same
Mm-hmm.
time frame.
Mm-mm.
Everybody doesn't follow the same schedule.
Seriously, seriously. And I admire the people that like are able to like discover and thrive early in their lives. Like, what an amazing opportunity, right? I didn't really like, I would say my new role at the new campus, I can truly say now, like, yep, this is what I was meant to do. Like, every time I walk into a room or every time I walk into a meeting, I'm like, yep, I'm supposed to be here. Like, yep, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. But it took me a long time to get here. It's after I became a mom, after like I've been married, like after I hit that big 40 birthday, right? I had to hit these milestones in my life so that I was mature enough to understand and embrace the moments that I'm in now to do it well. And so you're right. And everybody's like, that point in life comes differently. Like, for some people, they might get that milestone earlier because of experiences that they've already had in their lives,
Right.
right? For others, it's going to come much later. So, like, wherever you are, like, embrace it. Like, again, there's something good to come out of everything. Like, I don't understand why I have to go through this now, but later on, it'll all make sense. Like, why? Oh, I actually am so glad I went through that, right? Because it prepared me for this that I never even expected I would be doing or thinking about.
And that's the thing. A lot of times we do get worked up in the moment. Like,
Mm-hmm.
why is life so hard at this moment? Why
Mm-hmm.
can't I just get past this
Mm-hmm.
one thing? But those adversities really do create who we are. It
Yeah.
really do. It really does build us up for greater things.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Question: what would you do with your life today if you knew you couldn't fail?
Ooh. Um, if I knew I couldn't fail, um, I think the first thing I would think about is admit every kid to college. I would give every kid a full scholarship to college. And not every kid's going to want to go to college. I totally get that. But I would I would find a way to remove every barrier to make it possible to give them the access to the possibility versus having them to make decisions around what they don't feel is possible.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, to me, that changes the game a little bit. Like, let's level the playing field on that end. Like, oh, no, there are no barriers. What do you want to do?
Right. Can you walk us through the importance of having that access?
Oh, my gosh. Like, I mean, if you think about Black and brown folks, they're already at a disadvantage because Black and brown folks are continuously overlooked and ostracized simply based on the color of their skin or their names or whatnot, right? Prejudgments.
I was asked at what age did I learn how to spell my name, and I'll never forget that. I just wanted to put that out there.
Wow. Wow. Yeah. I often get asked, my name is Nakia. And sometimes I'm like, oh my God, what language is that? What country is that from? I was like, my dad made it up. Like, I don't know.
I told him my mom got creative,
Yeah, right,
like,
exactly.
What else can I say?
Exactly, right. I appreciate, maybe the deeper context that they're hoping to get from it, but all that to say there are a lot of challenges that come, right? Already inherently, right? Simply because of who we are. That's not to mention that's not to mention that there's a lack of generational wealth that comes with their families, right?
Right.
And that also comes with the lack of access and resources, right? And so now carry that into the fact that I may or may not have a college degree. I may or may not have a degree from an Ivy League institution.
Right.
I may or may not be offered a job or internship because I've never had the opportunity to work at a Fortune 500 company before and know what that experience is going to be like. Not that I can't, right? But I haven't had the exposure, right? And so simply providing the access levels the playing field, says I get the same opportunities that you get and I get to prove myself just like you do. That's not happening.
Right.
That does not happen. As much as people think, oh, Obama was president, like we good. No. The world has not provided equality. Still, that does not happen. People who are underrepresented have to work twice as hard just to prove that they belong in a space, not only to others but to themselves,
Right.
oftentimes too, right? And so, access shows us things that we may not have thought we were capable of doing, or places we may not have thought we were capable of being, right? Access opens our mindsets and opens up our opportunities and then introduces me to things that I never thought were possible, career paths that I never thought that I could do, unleashes gifts, right? And talents that I did not know were useful things for me, right? As a kid, I always used to like to do this, but I didn't think nothing of it.
Right.
You mean I could make this a career? People do this for a living? Yes, right? Not only do they make it for a living, you can make your own career. Like, you can invent. We're in an age of society, you could literally create a whole new career right now, right? That does not exist. And so that comes with access, knowing that things that you never thought were possible were possible. Access opens that mindset and inspires that ambition, and then gives the tools, right? Access then gives us the tools. So if I have the access, you also give me the courses, you also give me the network,
Right.
you also give me the opportunity to earn the resources I need to make those dreams possible and come true. It all starts with access. I'm not asking for a handout.
Right.
I'm just asking for the access to understand what the possibilities are.
And that's the thing. We're very prideful. You know, we don't want those handouts. So it really is on us
Mhm.
to take advantage of that access.
Mhm.
Get involved in all these opportunities and
Mhm.
create not new opportunities for other people
Mhm.
as well.
Yep. You don't have to love it, but find out what you don't know.
Right.
Well, that literally, that's it. Find out what you don't know.
Right. Knowing that failure is a possibility, how do you stay inspired and motivated every day?
Definitely my faith, as I mentioned. That's definitely a big part of my inspiration and motivation. I would say my other inspiration is my 2-year-old daughter, who's about to turn 3. Feels like she's about to turn 13. She inspires me every day. She's like the happiest little girl in the whole wide world, and I just love like her energy and her happiness and like her, like just like I don't know, like you can learn a lot from little kids sometimes. It's like they may be upset in a moment, then they move on. And they're okay. And like, yep, that's a good lesson. Like, move on, keep it moving, find a new toy. Like, do something different, find a new movie. Like, whatever you do what you have to do. So she totally keeps me inspired. The other day she told me I was her best friend. So that definitely had me on cloud 9. But yeah, my little daughter is and she's just the future generation, right? So the ability to just inspire and motivate this little girl to believe that like you are so much more powerful than you realize. The things that I wish I knew as a teenager,
Right.
right? To plant those seeds in her right now, like that's so empowering to me.
Just to add on to that, outside of just being a mom, what do you think you would like to be remembered for?
Hmm. Um. I would love to be remembered for um simply helping people. It's not anything like really big or profound, but like literally like being a bridge or being a door opener. Like I would love to be remembered as that. I mean, even now, I I talk to some of the alum that I've had a chance to like work really closely with, and even now when they're like, "Oh my God, I never would have like made it through college without you," and I'm like, "Yes, you would have." You definitely would have. Like, I didn't do any of your homework. Like, you definitely would have made it without me. But to think that you inspire somebody in that way, simply by being a bridge, or simply by being a listening ear, or simply by offering a little encouragement, to me, that's like, yep, that's like fulfillment. Like, that tells me that's why I do my job. Like, that's why I'm here. Those are the little things that remind me every day why I do what I do.
You had me feeling like a celebrity at like 16.
See what I'm saying? Like, that's what you're supposed to do. That's what you're supposed to do. And plus, I was like, all right, we got to get him to Fairfield. So what do I need to do? I got to treat him like, he's like the NBA All-Star or something coming in, So
And look at us now.
I know. Look at us now.
With all that we talked about so far, how do you think you can increase your value, especially moving into your new role?
I would say continue to expose myself. And I'm thankful that I work with some amazing supervisors who allow me the opportunity to expose myself. They don't hold me back. They allow me to learn, and they allow me to challenge, and they allow me to ask the questions. And also, that's the other way. How can you increase your value? Don't be afraid to use your voice.
Right.
Like, gain the confidence to use your voice, even if you don't know if you have the right words to say, even if you think it's a stupid question, even if you may be the only one who speaks up. Still, there's so much value to credibility you bring to your own voice and to your confidence in being able to be that voice. So, to me, I want to learn how. To me, it's continue. I'm actually, believe it or not, I'm very shy. I'm very shy. I typically am the type to only speak up when I have to. So this is not this is not common. I'm like turning on right now. But like learning to continue being confident and using my voice in unfamiliar spaces and just continuing to expose myself to things I didn't know and not being intimidated by that, right? Walk into a room, with a bunch of like PhDs, and I'm like, oh, okay. But like, no, I'm supposed to be here.
You gotta think about it. They invited me for a reason.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's the
Exactly.
other thing, just using your voice, thinking about the fact that I was invited here to share my voice, so why would I sit here quietly?
Right. Exactly. Exactly.
Um,
Exactly.
Final question for you.
Mm-hmm.
What does affluence mean to you?
I was actually thinking about this on the way over, right? And like, I guess like the more formal definition of affluence, right, is like an abundance of wealth,
Right.
right? And I just, as we're sitting here and we're like talking, I'm like, I feel affluent. Like, you know what I mean? Like, just rich in the things that I already have, right? And like, um, I'm always one that like reflects on how grateful I am to have like an amazing village of support in my life. Like just a really supportive family. I have a great husband. I have an amazing family. Like I have a job that I love and feel like I'm supposed to be doing this and I'm able to thrive in it. I have like great friends. I have like there's so many like I have like these amazing students that I get to be around every day. To me, I'm like I'm rich. Like I'm pretty
You
darn
are.
and not just rich, right? But I feel wealthy. Like these are things that don't just fade away. That can just fade away tomorrow. These are things that are going to last for generations for me, right? Like here I am almost 18, 19 years later in my career, and I still keep in touch with some of the first students that I've met. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like it's lasted over time. And so to me, like that's wealth. There's a wealth in finding like purpose in what you do. So to me, like that's a I mean, don't get me wrong. Like financial affluence is like, I love it.
Right.
I love it, but there's something even more meaningful about that purposeful affluence. If you can find that in the everyday things that you have around you.
And that's the thing. I think when we think about it financially, there's too many ups and downs to that.
Mhm.
If I think about it
Mhm.
as a mindset, like you said, in your 19 years, still being in contact with the people you met day one,
Yeah.
year five,
Yeah.
just seeing how much you really have done and
Absolutely.
how great of a feeling that is. Just
Absolutely.
reflecting on the impact that you were able to have and the change that you've made on other people's lives.
Absolutely. I will never forget one of the like biggest milestones for me is my mentor, my admission counselor, then my mentor. I always looked up to him because he was like so like I just admired him so much, like so great, so amazing, right? And he's always done these great things in the field, and then he's moved on and done a number of other things. And so then we kind of went our separate ways. So he went one way in the profession, and I went another way in the profession. But we still like stay connected. We talk all the time, and we're in the same friend group. So we end up in like weddings and like different, luxurious locations and various things. Like, so like really cool in that sense. We're close, like personal and professionally. And so one day, I'm walking to a meeting. He's walking out, and like all the people he was walking with from his meeting were like, "Hey, Nakia, how are you?" And he was like, "Why are they talking to you?" But then later on, he had said to me, he was like, "I was like, I'm just trying to be like you," and he was like, "No, you don't have to be like me. Like you earned it yourself. You earned your own right. You've earned your own keep. Like you don't have to be like me. You just be like you." And when he said that to me, I almost started crying. To come to that point where like your mentors see you as colleagues and not their mentees
Right.
anymore. You're like, that's a wealth. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? And so the fact that like we're still friends and now we can have these cordial conversations, even though I still look at him as a mentor, he
Yeah.
definitely we're friends,
Yeah.
in a sense. And so just to come to that place in my like my professional and personal life, like to me like, oh that's good job, Nikki. Good job, good job.
That's definitely understandable.
Yeah.
Definitely as a second semester senior, spending
Mhm.
4 years saying, "Oh, I'm trying to do this. I'm trying to do this," to finally be able to say, "I've done it."
Yes. 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 You did it. You
Thank
did
you.
it. Literally, we're in March. Like you did it.
We're almost out of here.
You did it. Mhm. Mhm.
um, Before we close off our interview, is there any words of advice that you would like to give to the viewers?
Hmm. I would say don't. I tell every person this. Write your own job description. Like, even if the job doesn't exist today, even if you don't know what the job will be, even if it doesn't make any sense, just write it. Like, just write it. Think about all the things that you were truly interested in, all the things that you would ideally want to do in a job. Write it down and write that own description. And understand that that might change next year, next month, or in a couple of years. That might change, but it's all good. Write it down. Write the vision, make it plain. And um, I think doing that helps you establish and remind you, I deserve this. Like, I know, like, there is something that I can aspire to and shoot for. I don't have to just go with what's offered to me.
Right.
Like, I can pursue things that I really want. It reminds us to not forget our passions.
Right.
Don't forget what you're truly interested in, and don't forget what you are feeling called to do. Sometimes it's challenging to not ignore what we're feeling called to do, especially when we're like, I'm not rich, I don't have money like that,
Yeah.
or I don't know how I'm gonna get access to that, I don't have resources for that, I don't even know what that is, right? Like, it might be, it's easy to ignore it, but I think not forgetting it allows us to pursue it in the right time.
Right.
And so write it down. Like, just that, my advice would just be write it down. Again, even if it changes over time, write it down. Write the vision, make it plain, because when it comes to be, you'll be ready for it. So don't ever give up on that little calling or that little nudge that you like feeling inspired to do. Like, it's supposed to be there. There's a purpose for it, and in the right time, the right people will come your way, and the right opportunities will come your way to help that come to fruition. Maybe not in the way we want,
Right.
but it'll come.
Got you. Write it down. Just get started. Remember that to be affluent is to have a creative idea. And that concludes episode 2 of season 2. Miss Nakia, we appreciate you for your time today.
My pleasure. It was an honor.